Hey, my name is the Tan Tiger, or Tan, or Raymond, and in case you didn't know, I usually finish out the year on my YouTube channel by having a rewind of animation projects I completed that year. But this year I don't have so much to show. This is because of several things that I'm about to get into, but I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you guys so much for continuing to support me throughout everything. Trust that there is another project in the works, and as a matter of fact, it's almost done. It's just that I think even if I do finish it before the year ends, it isn't really enough to constitute a whole rewind video. Um, I'd also like to just give a few updates about my life and what's been going on since I've been putting off making this video for a while now, and I know that some people might be slightly confused as to where exactly I'm at as a person, so to start off with, I'd like to talk about a diagnosis that I've been hit with recently. In the past 5 or 6 years, I've experienced little cramps of pain here and there, and as I've gotten older, they've gotten worse and more debilitating, and it makes it extremely difficult for me to do everyday tasks that you don't really seem like much to the average person. So, for a very long time, I convinced myself that nothing was the matter until earlier this year. I literally collapsed into tears at my job because the pain was so unbearable and I had to be sent home. And that's kind of when I realized that there was something seriously wrong with me physically. I already knew that there was something wrong with me mentally, but um, after several months of trying to get this stuff figured out with a doctor this year, we've reached the conclusion that I have a condition called fibromyalgia. Now, if you don't know what fibromyalgia is, it's a skeletal-muscular condition that causes chronic pain, and it can either be inherited through your genes or it can be caused by extreme emotional trauma or both. It's very, very debilitating and exhausting, and it affects my energy levels as well as my memory. Yeah, you see, the thing with fibromyalgia is that technically speaking, nothing is actually physically wrong with your body. Your nervous system is just constantly glitching and sending pain signals to your brain for literally no fucking reason. So the result, stiffness, exhaustion, and also your brain can be so preoccupied with processing these pain signals that it actually leaves less room for your memories. So that's cool, I guess. Usually this condition is more common in people who are biologically female and comes up sometime around menopausal or middle age, but it can happen in biological male people as well. Luckily for me, my job has been very, very patient and understanding with me, and I'm still in the process of, trying to figure out a plan and a schedule that works for me so I can, like, make a living. But I just wanted to put that down as an explanation to why my workflow can be so fluctuating and kind of comes in bursts every now and again. Sometimes the fucking hyperfixation kicks in and I churn out like 4 different animations in a month, and then the rest of the year it just feels like I'm living in a fog because my body fucking hurts. Um, well, I'll always be an artist and I'll always be an animator, and I love doing it. I'm actively trying to be patient with myself and not overwork myself like I used to do. Hand pain can get really, really bad for me if I'm drawing for extended periods of time, so I have to take frequent breaks throughout the day in order to not be in agonizing fucking pain. I also have a bunch of real life stuff going on, that being, the dreaded thing on the internet that nobody likes to talk about, a job, as well as I'm just, spending my time with family and other people in my real life much more than I used to because I'm just more confident in myself recently, so yeah, I don't have as much time to be ignoring my basic needs and spam posting animation projects. Because I feel better about myself. And that kind of brings me to my second point, which, if you've heard my voice before in past videos or whatever, and you've been listening to me talk so far and you're like, hey, wait a minute, something's fishy, or you may have picked up on something already because you follow me on Tumblr or something and you might have noticed that my pronouns changed or whatever. But anyway, 3-ish years ago or something, now that I came out to you guys, I came out to you guys and now I'm about to come out to you guys again. My name is Ray, and I am a trans man. And I've been on testosterone for a little over 5 months now, and the process is going great. I've been very blessed to be surrounded with people who understand and accept me and encourage me to do whatever feels best for me. And this has helped me go and get the gender appointments done, go and get my testosterone, learn how to take my own testosterone through a needle, etc. I started experimenting with strictly he, him pronouns last December, and after having identified as gender fluid for so long, I've kind of thought that I would miss my femininity in some way, but even now that I've been identifying this way for a year, I can't say that I miss it at all. um, obviously femininity and womanhood is this wonderful, beautiful thing for many people, but for me, it only ever really felt like a cage. I wore baggy clothes all the time. I felt disgust anytime I looked at my own chest. When I was younger, we had these mirrors attached to bathroom cabinets, and anytime I went into the shower, I would open the cabinets and turn the mirrors around because that's how much I couldn't stand looking at myself. I hated having a feminine voice, and I hated wearing dresses, and I hated being perceived that way at all. And for the longest time, I just didn't really know how to articulate it or what that feeling even was. The best way that I can describe it to somebody who isn't trans is like if somebody cut off your arm and then stitched a new one back onto you, but that arm wasn't yours and you knew it belonged to somebody else and you just feel weird about it, like constantly. And every time you looked at it or used it, you just would feel gross. That's kind of what it feels like to have gender dysphoria. I've felt this way since puberty, and for the longest time, I've never been able to really confront it or put my finger on it. But now that I'm in a safe and supportive environment, I was able to kind of explore it. And between this and being on a consistent medication that works for my depression and anxiety and whatnot, I can confidently say that right now in my life, this is the best that I've ever felt. Period. Point blank. Like even taking into account when I was a little kid, this is the best that I have felt in my entire life. I have more self-confidence now after some things that I've gone through, and overall I just feel like I'm in a really good space despite everything. Now, for a while, I avoided making this video because I honestly didn't really know what to say. This is the internet, and absolutely nobody is entitled to anything that's too personal going on in my life. But at the same time, we just hit 800 subscribers, and while I'm extremely grateful and honored to have so many of your guys' attention, I also feel like I have a responsibility to explain some things. Talking about what I'm about to talk about has also felt extremely scary for me because I know for a fact that certain people who I don't want to associate with anymore consistently follow what I'm up to, despite my best efforts to block them. So I know that they're going to hear me say some things that they're not going to like, but this video isn't for them. And honestly, this video is for me. So if you're one of those people and you know who you are, you know what I'm talking about, climb off of my dick, please, because you know what you're doing and you know that you're not welcome here and you know this conversation isn't for you, so please fuck off, actually. But anyways, I'm just gonna dive right into it. So I mentioned a few times in descriptions and stuff on this channel that I had a husband, and me and him split at the start of September last year, and the dissolution of marriage was finalized in, I think, May-ish, March, something like that of this year, somewhere around that time. Him and I were not good together, and I would honestly describe this relationship as mentally and emotionally and financially abusive on his end. I was in a really dark spot, and I was mad at the world, and he took advantage of that. He isolated me from my friends and from my family, and because he knew that I was going to let him do that, and honestly, he was right. I have pretty bad abandonment issues from some stuff in my early life, and honestly, entering a relationship with him and being in such a bad spot was my bad idea, and my issues are not his responsibility, but it also doesn't justify the treatment that I've received as a result of that. I have a tendency to surround myself with kind of terrible people because I have a low self-esteem, and I will let people that I call my friends or loved ones verbally berate me and beat me down because I don't have the self-respect to stand up for myself. But I've been working on that. I've been going to therapy. I have a psychiatrist that I've been seeing, which apparently I have PTSD as well, so that's cool. But the point is that that's something huge that I was going through late last year, and that's why you may have seen such a burst of emotion from me and felt it in my workflow on this channel. My characters and my writing and art are all an outlet, and being able to process those feelings really helped me get to feeling good like how I feel today. The truth is that I was in a really dark place after everything that happened, but support from my family and my peers and earning the self-confidence and self-respect after realizing that if I can make it through that, I can make it through anything, and I can actually rely on myself as a person. That was extremely healing, and being able to freely kind of explore myself and feel the things that I needed to feel was really helpful. In terms of how the channel's going, I have a couple of suggestions I'd love to get your guys' opinion on. I'm probably putting this fucking talking, like, listen to this while it's open in another tab sort of video, or some shitty beer roll of, like, WoW gameplay or it's speed paint or something like that. But going back to the animation rewinds, I was thinking about doing something like that maybe once every 2 years instead of once a year, like how I've been doing. That way, that gives me enough time to get out a good amount of projects, so I'm not just feeding you a rewind video that's just a nothing burger. Uh, and also, that kind of lets me rest physically, so my hands don't look like I got into a fist fight with a fucking trash compactor. But on top of this, I know that this channel is taking kind of a pivot to more WoW-centric content, and I was wondering if you guys would be interested in some video essays about canon content in the game. I have quite a few ideas just off the top of my head here. I've been considering making video essays about, like, Blizzard's writing of the Horde and how it's changed recently, or the queer representation in this game, or lack thereof, or honestly just a piece about why exactly I adore this game and what draws people like me to it. And the only issue that I'm having with figuring this out is figuring out what exactly I'd like to use for the video portion of this idea, because I could just talk like this over some random B-roll for days, but like for something like that, I'd expect to turn out something a little bit more high quality, but I'm just not very experienced in machinima stuff the way that people like, you know, Platinum WoW or Captain Grimm are, which, side note, if you like WoW content, you should check those people out because they're fucking awesome. But anyways, let me know any thoughts you guys might have about that, and in the meantime, I'll still keep working on stuff, and I'll hit you guys with a new animation very soon. If you want to keep up with me or my art, there's some links in my channel description that you can go check out. I'm pretty shitty at using most social media because I just kind of don't like it. So I'm sorry that the most frequent place that I post is fucking Tumblr, but you know, Twitter's a cesspit, and I'm not exactly about to fan the flames of any existential crises that I may be having that day by opening my phone to whatever soul-sucking fucking miserable shit Mr. Elon Musk has to say. But other than that, yeah, that's just kind of a rundown of everything that's been going on in my life and kind of keeping you guys up to date with what's going on. That's kind of all I had to say today, and again, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for popping in and supporting my channel, and I will be posting something new for you all very soon. So, see ya.